Hello and welcome to Say Hi to Harmony. I'm Eddie, and today we're going to be talking about chord progressions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the same chord progression and then modify it slightly to come up with different ideas. So first we're going to do 1, 4, 5. So if you can see, it's the same shape each time, right? So it's play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play a note, right? And you take that same thing, that same structure, and you move your hand up to F. Play the same thing, and then you move it up to the G. And now you've got your three main chords. A million songs are made on 1, 4, 5, C, F, G, or that same kind of thing where it's moving from here up to, from 1 to 4, and then from 4 to 5 is just right next door. Right? So you can change it to any key you want. It's the same thing. It's just kind of shifted up and down. So we're going to stick with C because that way we just play with the white notes and it's just easy to see. But you can take anything that we're doing today and flip it to a totally different key. So what we're going to do is we're going to just play C first 4 times, F 4 times, and then G 8 times. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and repeat it. Okay, so when you're writing that, if you make a box, draw a line down the center, draw a line that way, split it that way as well, split it that way as well. You're just making a grid of 4 by 4. So that would look like this. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to choose random different ones. Instead of straight up like that, it's going to be different. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5. Then we'll do that same thing again. We'll loop that part one more time and we'll put it down here. Except at the very end, instead of putting a 5, we're going to put a 1 at the end. It's good to just come back to home. 1 is home. So if you come back to home at the end of the block, it feels like it's a story that has kind of opened and shut. So we're going to copy, so this line is unchanged, 1, 1, 4, 1, and then this line is almost the same, 1, 1, 5, 1. So you can see that this second line here and this fourth line here are almost the same, except at the very, very end of the whole song, we go back to 1, which is our home. Our 5 is like a home away from home, so you can kind of rest there, but it's not like the full, final, complete, I'm done. But the 1 feels like I'm done. 5, 4, and I'm done. The 1 just feels like that, right? So 1, 4, 5 in this context, 1 is a C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. F is the 4, and then we go to the 5. 1, 4, 5, right? So let's play it. Here we go. 1, 1, 4, 1. There we go. Let's do it again. That seems a little bit weird because you're going up from 1 to 5 and then right back down again, but it serves the point of just explaining about 1 being at the end of the song. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play this totally differently, but with the same exact chord progression, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that was the same exact chord progression. It was moving, everything was moving right on beat to the different chord progressions, but it's a totally different thing. You're not just playing block chords, right? So this kind of structure of if you're taking the block chord and you're moving it up and down like that, it feels like you're a robot doing robot things. And so if you can learn different ways to play chords, then all of a sudden what you're doing is you're playing the same chord progression, but it sounds totally different. So this is why there's so many songs written with 1-4-5 that are pretty, that don't sound blocky, because they're taking those same chord progressions, but they're playing them in totally different ways. So for instance, this is the 4, but instead of putting the C at the top, you could put the C at the bottom. That's a 4 chord. Even though your 1 is on C, like a C major chord, that's actually a 4 chord, because it's like the C's up here, so it's like that, but instead of the C being up here, we just throw it down there. So that's a 4. So from 1 to 4, it's not this huge jump anymore, it's just a little bit of a change. Do you see that? And there's also different ways to play a C, right? You don't have to play a C like this. You can take the C and put it all the way up here. So that's a C major chord. Okay, so now that's actually really close to F as well, the regular F, the root position F. Okay, so 1-1-4 could sound like this. Again. And 1-1-4 could also sound like this. And 1-1-4 could also sound like this. So one thing you'll notice here, this is an F chord by the way, but it's kind of split out and doing different things. So you can see the F down here, that F shape, but I'm just playing the bottom F and then the C, so I'm actually skipping the A. Typically when you play thirds in the bottom hand, they get crunchy and weird, so it's better to spread out the bottom hand as opposed to playing close. It's better to spread it out. Okay, so that's what that hand's doing. And this hand up here is actually not playing an F but a G instead. Now that's wrong. That's not correct. But because it's close enough, it gives a little bit of a twist to the chord. It gives a little bit of a change to it. So instead of just playing the blocky, which just sounds boring and robotic, you're adding this extra flavor, this spice to it by not playing the F. You forgot the F down here, so that kind of anchors it down. You know, the F and the C down here, you feel like you got it. So then we don't need the F necessarily here. And so that has a completely different flavor than this. And so because you're playing the 2, instead of playing 1-3-5, 1-3-5, instead of playing that, you're skipping the 1, you're playing 2-3-5. It has a little bit of a special feel to it. Okay, now we can take that same thing and shift it down to C as opposed to blocky. It has kind of a dreamy feel to it, maybe. Here's another example of playing a C. You're playing a C chord, you're playing a 1, right? But instead of blocky, 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 you're flipping it all over itself, and you're playing. So I guess we're gonna lock down the bottom with an octave, C's, with a G in the middle. So that's a good foundation, right, to build on top of. And then up here, what we're gonna do, so we're gonna play a 2, and then we're gonna play the G that was originally in the regular chord, 1-3-5, right? So there's the G there, and then we've got this 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to play a B, and then we're going to put the C at the top. So actually 3 out of the 4 notes are wrong. Or no, sorry, 2 out of the 4 notes are wrong. These are wrong. This is not okay. Right, this is the chord. But we're playing this. That's weird. But when you infuse chords with other chords, it tends to sound nice. This, I guess, this could be considered a G over a C, because this is actually a G chord. That's actually a G chord. I don't like that as much. For some reason with this D on top, I don't like it. It's weird. But if you put the C on top and you put the D down here, it has that complete, it has the C at the bottom and the top, well, and the C in the middle too. It has that dreamy feel. So when you're playing chords, start out with the blocky stuff, understand the blocky stuff, but then mess it up. Instead of playing 1-4, where you have to jump all the way up here, do a 1 to a 4 by just moving these guys up to there. And then once you're there, you can actually take that whole shape and move that up. And now you're on a G. Because remember, F and G are next to each other here. So F and G are also next to each other when it's in the different shape. The second inversion. Okay, so that's an F and a G. And up here's an F and a G. And there's one more right here. This is an F, and this is a G. So right here, the F is on top, and the G is on top. But here, the F is on the bottom, and the G is on the bottom. And here, the F is in the middle, and the G is in the middle. So once you learn your inversions, then you can just kind of flip and flop through them. So when you're playing a 1-4-5 or whatever, you can just flip all over the place. See how I got to the G there? We're going to go down for F. And you can see that the wrong note here is that extra G on top. So this is an F chord. There it is, with an F up here. And then we play, instead of just 1, we play the 2 as well. Gives it that extra spice. I put some extra chords in there that weren't just 1-4-5. So if you're trying to figure out what that was, it's not. There was a 2 minor, 3 minor, a 6 minor in there. But just focus on 1-4-5 for now, unless you want to jump to the next stuff. This is kind of fun. You hold the octave. So you hear. But it's nice because the bottom of the chord changes. The chord changes underneath it. And we're home. Back to a 1.